All right, hello again, everybody, and we'll see if I sound less gravelly than I did last night when I unboxed some things that came from uh, Peter's Comic Corner. Uh, so in Kansas, we started shutting things down relatively quickly because of all of this COVID stuff, and the original plan from my local comic book shop was to open up the shop on the 24th of March. I think that's the right date for the day that Diamond let people distribute comics early. Um, and then not open up again until the 31st. But because of the statewide stay-at-home order and the dumb decision of deciding that comic book shops aren't essential businesses, uh, they were forced to shut down. So the owner of the shop offered to ship out anything that we had on our pull lists. And originally I was like, no, maybe I can wait. And then 36 hours later, I immediately was like, oh God, I'm going to need stuff to read because I'm running out of things from the pile and I don't want to buy digital books. So the lovely absurdity of the mail system is that, I live maybe 3 minutes away from my LCS, good old Chops Comics in lovely Lawrence, Kansas. And um, since he can only ship things out or hold things until he's allowed to open and people can enter non-essential businesses again, um, he had to send this to me through the mail. So, in looking at the tracking updates for the journey of the books from, maybe 3 miles from my house, was the shipment, instead of being able to be processed here at the Lawrence post office, had to go from here up to Kansas City, which is about uh, 45-minute to an hour drive for the to the processing facility, and then make it all the way back here. So I had to wait because bureaucracy and postal shipping don't make sense in a world to me. So instead of writing my weekly pull list blog post, it's time to look at all of the awesome things that have kind of come in. And some of y'all who maybe have read some of these books can post in the comments or send me a tweet about which books I should prioritize reading and which books I should stay away from or wait until I'm really desperate to read, because there are some titles in here that I know I'm probably going to be excited about, and then there are some titles in here already that I know I'm going to dread, and I have to make sure I get all of the external packing tape off of here so I don't rip any of my bags. But this will also let me talk about some of the titles that I have on my pull list and why I like reading some of them. And I find it ironic that uh, Mr. Springer, every time on the podcast we talk about the Amazing Spider-Man, his lovely nickname for him is the Amazing Sad Sack, and I find it ironic that the first book I pull out is ASM 42. I am quite behind on this series, but I decided during spring break I was going to challenge myself to try and read all of Nick Spencer's run up to this point, and I think the 2 days that I did it, there was some heavy drinking. Thank you, buddy. Involved in the middle of the day to make it through some of those collections. So this is something I know will go on the bottom of the stack because I'm just hit, I think, book 30, 31. And to be honest, I can look at my notes and try and tell you what I think is happening, but I don't know what the fuck is happening, which is a problem when you're 30 books in to a run. I've got Amethyst number 2 from DC. I really enjoyed the first one about something happening in the Gem Kingdom and Amethyst trying to juggle her responsibilities in the real world versus the Gem world. The third of 4 in the IDW run, I Can Sell You a Body. I can tell you, if you're looking for a new for you book day book to pick up. That this has been an interesting tale of, a psychic who believes that he can place the spirits of the dead into bodies, and he's trying to make good on his promises to do so, or he's going to get killed by the mafia. What's up, Bubba? All right, sorry. I've got all three of my children here bubbling around the house, so if you hear someone very excitingly yelling about Sonic the Hedgehog, my 4-year-old is hanging out in here with me. The next books that I've got flying through, Shoplifters Will Be Liquidated, number 5, which is a lovely kind of dystopian anti-capitalist trope that's been a good read from Aftershock. I hope in Legion number 5 we get to see more of the training video, because that's what I was hoping for, and good old Bendis is stringing me along. This is a book that someone else reviewed on the podcast when it came out, and I decided that the reviews from other folks had been interesting enough, and that I get enough of Hickman's lovely charts that I love from the X books to read Decorum from Image. We've got Ghostbusters Year 1, number 3. Ghostbusters, like G.I. Joe or like the X-Men, are one of those characters that are nostalgic to me from my childhood. That I like how it's focused on each one of kind of the core members of the team and how they got into being a Ghostbuster. What I know that I'll have to wait a little bit to read to get a little bit more caught up on is Hellions number 1, and the new shoot off of the reboot of the X-Men universe, but I have fairly been a big fan of all of them. I was kind of sad when the storyline in Fallen Angels came to an end, but we'll see, given the crew who's assembled here on the cover, if it uses some of the same moving pieces from Fallen Angels. The next book I've got is one that I absolutely love, Jessica Jones' Blind Spot. Kelly Thompson, she has become a writer that I've become a big fan of, that I'm enjoying her run on Daredevil, and I'm enjoying this a lot. That I wrote a fairly lengthy review of book number 5 in terms of the character reveal, some of the things that the book had to say or criticize about, like toxic masculinity and gender assumptions. And I think she's nailing it dead on here. And I'm sad that, this book is ending in a number 6, because I think there's a lot that she could do to continue to grow the character. The book that I can tell you I know will make the very, very top of my stack to read is Philadelphia number 5. This is a book that I picked up literally just based off of the cover when number 1 came out, and I've loved it. I think Rodney Barnes is killing it. I think Jason Sean Alexander's art in the book is phenomenal, and as I kind of wrote about last night in terms of liking people who play with a small historical angle, I'm intrigued by the idea that James Madison or John Adams is the father of all vampires. And then to round out the first box, I've got Falcon and the Winter Soldier number 2, Marvel Snapshots, Fantastic Four, and I liked the Submariner Namer one that came out, so I'm gonna like all of these individual one looks. Dying is Easy, which is Joe Hill's kind of absurd murder mystery from IDW, and then Batman Superman number 8, which is one of the DC titles that I am consistently understanding. Hold on one second, buddy. So I'm going to see what my co-host over my shoulder needs, and then we'll look and see what's in the second box. All right, here's the second half of the box, and here's where I know there are some titles in here that I'll probably look at some of my friends online to help me figure out some of the context. I hung out with on the live stream of the Comic Burrito show last night, and those guys are wild and hilarious, and it was fun watching them make it almost 4 hours of a live stream of just nonsense and interacting with the folks who are watching it. But I learned that they are far bigger DC readers and fans, and as you can already see from the first chunk of my 2 weeks of pull, that I'm more of a Marvel person. But I did read Flash Forward and have, that was interesting enough to me. Flash 750 was interesting enough to me that, I'm going to try and start getting into the world of the Flash. So I know that there are some DC stands out there, or, both of the guys at Lost in Comics like the Flash universe. So I may be asking for some help. If you didn't read On the Stump, #1 from Image Comics, you should, because imagine if Congress really got to have fistfights to determine whether or not legislation would be passed. Like, I think there are a bunch of folks who would, whoop some ass, literally, to take care of some of the coronavirus package. The arc is continued in Once and Future #7, the kind of modern play on the Arthurian legend. We find out what happens with the hilt of the sword and our new prodigal son. Ravencroft has been kind of an interesting read for me. I know a bunch of the DC folks out there go, this is just a knockoff of Arkham Asylum. You're right, but I like it because it's characters that I have a bit more history or understanding with, but you're not wrong there. I believe in my review of Punisher Soviet #5, I literally just said I fucking love Garth Ennis Punisher books, and I'm sad that Punisher Soviet #6 ends with Ennis. I want him to write some more Punisher titles again, but I am excited to see Punisher Barracuda coming out whenever distribution happens again. Road to Empire. I know this is the big event that Marvel was planning for summer, so I'm wondering, as release dates continue to get jostled around and pushed back because of the COVID crisis, how quickly we'll be able to jump into it. But I really, really liked the premise of the story that was introduced in Incoming, so I think this is pretty good. Scream. I talked about liking Carnage last night. This is a book I'm still behind on, that as I'm grasping for more things to read, I will have more to look at. X-Men #9. I think I'm due to update my massive chart that I wrote when I updated the podcast on the first 15 books that had come out in all of the post House Powers of X reset. Fantastic Four, X-Men #3 from Marvel is out. Like I said in my video last night, I really, really like everything that Chip Zdarsky is doing. I know that there's a lot of chatter about this book online in terms of, are the X-Men in the wrong in this? Should we look at mutant integration versus mutant gentrification, and kind of play with, or mutant segregation versus gentrification, and which is the better world? So I'm enjoying at least the controversy that's coming from this. And it's Zdarsky writing characters that I already know and I like. I really liked Percy's Wolverine #1. It was something that we talked about as a community book on the Chops Comics podcast, and I'm excited to see which of the two storylines from the #1 continue in this one. And then what made me smile and laugh at the very bottom of the box, I like reading the previews comics, and they're both the solicits for what is shipping in June 2020. So I wonder if I can get on Marvel or DC's website and see when the new estimated release date of all of these books that I'm gonna look at are. So that's what's in my box. If y'all have any suggestions in terms of things that you think I should look at or prioritize my order, or if you think there are books that have come out in the last 2 weeks that I very clearly and obviously missed, that you think I should see if, Springer over at Chops can do another pull and mail it to me, I am definitely open to any kinds of suggestions. So hopefully y'all give me some thoughts on what I should prioritize in my reading, or books I should look to pick up in the hiatus on newly released material that's coming out. But thanks for watching, and have a good one.